All right, we continue to talk, ladies and gentlemen, Marquette basketball, and specifically You Can Call Me Al, the colorful journey of college basketball's original flower child, the late and legendary Al McGuire, and no one ever gets tired of talking about the man whose legacy, especially in Marquette circles, so many of you fans. So Joe Moran, the author of this marvelous book, you referenced Al's family, and of course owning the bar and the work ethic and everything else, and they grew up there, right, Dick and Al? So what are your memories, the connections that you learned about as it relates to Al McGuire's parents and the impact they had on this man?
Al's mom and dad were very, very different people. Al's father, John, who died at age 57, was the one who really, basically kept the bar clean. He would always be in the brass bar railings throughout the bar during the time it was open. He would always be looking for dirty marks. And he always told their daughter Kathleen, if you leave one mark uncleaned, you'll find 100. Mm-hmm. So he was always cleaning around there. He was also, if somebody was making trouble in the back room of the tavern, if he didn't take care of the guy, he would send Al or Johnny out in the back of the tavern to work him over a little bit. I asked Al once, what was the best advice that his parents gave him? He said, my father always told me, always get paid and never co-sign. His mother's best advice to him was, never use words that a shoeshine boy couldn't understand. And I think that really probably set Al on the path of being able to communicate well, especially in his broadcast career. Because one of the guys who played for him at Belmont Abbey, Chuck Sullivan, he said that what we can't see or understand on the basketball court, Al makes clear with pictures. And I thought that was a very, very good way of expressing how Al communicated, because Al continued to say that he never really was very good with vocabulary and that he didn't spell well. And he was very, very honest in the way that when he was in high school, he said he had his sister Kathleen do his homework for him, or and do his papers for him, because he said he just wasn't. He said the nuns really couldn't do anything for me, and he did the best he could, but he had a gift of gab that really came from his mother. His mother was the one who was always welcoming people in the tavern, talking about putting some money down, getting on the numbers, as they say back in New York. Yeah. And also, Al's oldest brother, Johnny, Al always described him as the thief in the family. He was the one who always had the gambling habit that his mother had. And so Al always made it a point to make sure that during the basketball season, he stayed away from Johnny.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
And because Al was someone who, while he played the percentages, he was somebody who believed that you can never beat the house. Mm-hmm. And that's why, as Jerry Savio told me, Al still has the first dollar that he ever earned.
Right, yeah. John, I know that these stories, you're taking notes here, so just go.
Yeah, I remember the books, a couple of the quotes that cracked me up was, when it comes to a family business, only family touches the cash register, and you even have to watch them too. That was so common. That cracked me up. And the other one was when Al won the championship, his mom called him up in Atlanta and said, "Alfie, you got out clean."
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah. So he really was his mother's child, wasn't he?
And he always said to me, he said, I asked him if he ever felt like he was a father figure to the players he coached. And he said, he thought about it for a second. He said, I'm really more like a mother figure to my ball players. And I thought that was a very, very interesting remark about how he viewed them. Because a lot of times while he would try to take care of them, you know, making sure that they had 2 loaves of bread under their arms before they left Marquette, in other words, getting good jobs, he was somebody who was not going to be a father confessor for his players. He would say, you know, don't come to me for money for haircuts or for library fines or anything like that. He said, you know, you don't go after a canary with a howitzer. You know, guys who played for him at Belmont Abbey, occasionally they would take the towels out of hotel rooms. And Al said, guys, don't do piddly stuff like that. Don't do small stuff like stealing towels. And when they did do something like that, he made sure that they paid for the towels at those hotels. He would say, now, if you're going to steal a television, I'm in with you. You know?
He cared for his players deeply. Didn't he have the quote, paraphrasing Joe, something like, don't let basketball use you, you use basketball type of thing?
When his brother Dick played at St. John's, you know, he was a terrific basketball player at St. John's and award-winning player. And Bob Cousy even told me that he looked up to Dick McGuire on the playground as what he considered the prototype of the point guard that we know today. And Dick wasn't all that great of a student at St. John's. And by the time he finished his 4 years at St. John's, Dick had just a total of 60 credit hours. And so he didn't get a degree. And Al always felt that St. John's had used Dick for his basketball talent. And he decided at that time, I'm not going to let St. John's use me like they used Dick. And I think it took Al one more summer to finish his degree at St. John's before he started with the Knicks. But that's why he was always very, very straightforward with the ball players. You know, basketball is just a small part of your lives, and you never know how you're going to get injured if you do get injured during a career. So take advantage of the education that you have. A couple of good examples, Pat Smith. Al always said that Pat Smith was his favorite player. It took Pat 6 years to get through Marquette with a history degree, but he graduated, first in his family with a degree. Joe Thomas. Al didn't think Joe was going to last very long in the NBA. And so he said, Joe, save your money. He said, I think I can get you into law school at Marquette.
Wow.
And Joe was not very, very optimistic about his chances to get through law school. But Al kept pounding it. You know, every time Joe would come back, he'd say, Coach, I don't know if I can make it. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be, I just don't know if I can do it. And he said, keep going. You have to get that law degree. And eventually Joe did get the law degree. He didn't graduate very high in his class. But, you know, Al always said that the world is run by C students.
With common sense, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And perseverance and Al pushing. I think that's a big, big part of his legacy. Another segment, it could be anything we want. We're going to go around the horn, okay, and continue with Joe Moran, John Dodds. I'm Tom Pippins talking about You Can Call Me Al, the colorful journey of college basketball's original flower child, Al McGuire.